Welcome back to Rotten Rust Garage. So this week, got a new little project, a side project if you will. I'm going to set the Charger, the 69 Charger, off to the corner for a little bit, and I'll revisit that later. But right now, I'm kind of excited. About 2 weeks ago, my son and I went out after, hunting around on the face-based marketplace thing, and saw the price coming down on an old Dodge truck till it got down to a point where we were interested in seeing this thing. Rolled out, talked to the real nice guy, and while I was hemming and hawing saying, I don't know, he dropped the price to the point where I couldn't refuse, basically. It's like, hey, it's worth that in parts alone and more, so went ahead and jumped on it. So we're gonna mess with that a little bit this weekend, but before I go too far, I want to show you kind of the broken up tidbits of video that I got 2 weeks ago when we brought this home. We were in a hurry, forgot to grab the camera real quickly and missed some of it. Not a whole lot, but I'm gonna jump back in time to 2 weeks ago, show you what happened there. It may or may not make sense, and then we'll do a walk around, and then I'll start getting after it. So stick around. Now, I did forget to mention, when we went to look at this thing, the guy said all it needs is a starter. Of course, ran when parked, and it came with a new old used starter off a shelf in somebody's garage, laying in the floor. So the first thing we had to do was obviously jam a starter in it.
Lose this bolt just won't start.
All right, with the brown turd, first step, changing out the starter motor. And Killian's underneath and Shane's up top.
Oh, my leg. Getting
greasy and complaining. Face. All right, we're out here with the old rig. Say hey to Shane. Say hi, Shane.
Hello.
All right. And popped off the air breather. And we've got shot a bunch of carb cleaner down there. And I'm getting ready to fill the bowl with some fresh fuel. Belts are all here. It's got some coolant in it. Already checked. Looks like somebody swapped the oil in this, just put fresh in because the filter looks ancient. It's very rusty and no good. But what we're going to do now, Killian's inside with a screwdriver where an ignition switch used to be, and we're going to try and fire this puppy up. So, Shane, you mind? You in there, son?
Yeah.
All right, give me a second. I'm going to pop up this bowl a little bit in case it does start running. It'll have something to chew on. See if we can get this thing going. All right, go ahead, hit it. One more time. Wait, on a Chrysler, you gotta wait till the starter finally stops spinning a couple days later. All right, go ahead, buddy. That was easy. Start knocking. Start knocking. Crusty, but I think she just saw a little high. I think that alternator's seen better days. It's got quite the work. Oh, so much crap everywhere. And the bugs are climbing out of the engine. Nice. She should be running out here. Woo! We disconnected the fuel pump down there. That'll be our next step. See if that thing works, get a new fuel line and get a spare gas can. Cool. Should be running out. Next thing is to see if the transmission works. There she goes. Go ahead and turn it off, buddy. Something sounds kind of awkward there. All right. So that's pretty cool. This thing's been off the road since 2005. At least that's the last paperwork inside of the cab. And the sticker, the inspection sticker on the windshield. So it is rotten rust. And it's right up our alley. So why not? For the low price. Couldn't say no, you know. But I'll give you a walk around of this thing, but you know it's a runner. Now, can the transmission work? It's got this many gears with a big stick sticking in the transmission tunnel, so I'm liking that. Well, now that fired up real easy, and I got to tell you that we were cranking on it for a while after we got the starter in there, just listening to the gallop and shooting carb cleaner down in there, and vacuumed off the top of the engine, you know, to keep all the debris from flying everywhere. But yeah, somebody's put clean oil in it. I'm pretty sure they just, maybe it leaked all out. Engine's pretty greasy. It's a turd, but you know, we're gonna keep messing with it. This is kind of fun. So back in a bit. So she fired right up. I mean, too easy. That awkward sound, I don't use my words so good on camera, was more of a terrible sound. And if I was a betting man, I would say that's the throwout bearing running against the fingers of the pressure plate. So that's my guess. And looking underneath of the truck, well, I think I'm probably right, because the spring that holds the clutch pedal is going in the wrong direction, and it's the wrong spring. It's a spring that's this long versus one that's about this long, holding it to the bell housing right there where the starter goes on. So that part of the truck has been, let's say, monkeyed with. Hopefully we can fix that. Hopefully the throwout bearing is not trashed, but we're going to find all that out once we can get this thing running, get the new fuel pump in it. But then we decided to take the rusty, crusty tires and wheels off of it. The tires were literally falling apart, and clean them up a little bit and throw some paint on them to get new rubber. Build it up with lights. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right, welcome back. Just want to show you kind of quick update of where we're at with this right now. So took the old rusty crusties off of there with the the tires were in pretty good shape. I don't know, but we decided to sand them down by hand and using a wire brush and, you know, drill, and got them kind of decenter than they were. They're not great. And we hit them with some rust former and then a coat of primer. Now I'm gonna Scotch-Brite real quick and throw some antique white paint on there. Should look a lot better, because new rubber coming. Even though we don't have brakes sorted or anything else on this truck sorted, it has to have tires that hold air, and these, well, I don't know if you can tell, but they're not gonna quite do that. So get some paint on them. Gonna look good.
I think it will.
Now, if you're wondering what paint we're using, went to the local paint shop and had to get the exact match for a 1977 Dodge, and that's what they came up with. The custom paint aisle at Walmart. Probably gonna break the budget with this stuff, but man, it looks pretty good, I'd say. At least the first coat. Keep on doing it. So now that we got the history out of the way, the 2-week history of it at least, let's do a quick walk around. I'll tell you about what we know so far. All right, so this is a 1977 Dodge W150 Power Wagon. And we picked it up really cheap, because you're gonna see why. Super cheap, $1,200. And it's got a 318 in it, and it has, the best part is it has a 4-speed in it. Probably an NP 435. I haven't really tried to scrape the grease off the side of it. But so the custom badge would have said 150 right there, more than likely. It's well attached. Shockingly, every bit of this side trim is on this. It's got a custom mirror. That's really nice. That's pretty rare. That's a rare option for sure on Mopars. All of the side trim, crazy. So it is a long bed truck, and it's got the split rear window. Other than that, what's really cool about it is these cab lights. Now these cab lights are probably dealer installed option, maybe at the factory, but those are only found typically that I know of on a model called the Snow Commander, where they're set up for snowplow from the factory. We were initially thinking, hey, this might be a Snow Commander based on those lights alone, the cab lights, because they've got little Mopar emblems on them if you look close. Very hard to see because they're pretty crazed and old, but that is exactly the style and model. And we did our research, and I'll show you here in a few minutes, but there's a reason why we're pretty sure this is not a Snow Commander. Now, somebody might have ordered the Snow Commander minus the plow, but who knows? These old trucks, not a whole lot of info left in the glove box. Looks like at some point somebody put in a brand new windshield. It's not all hazed at the bottom. You got custom windshield wipers. They work independently of each other. No, not really. Yeah, you guessed it. This cowl has to come off. We got to fix the wiper linkage in there. While we're in there, we'll get all of this stuff out of there so that we're not, growing any plants in there. There you go, Power Wagon. Pretty cool, the old bird bath hood, and it's working well, collecting. Rained a little bit last night, so the birds have not taken a bath yet, probably because all this trash in it. This is the original brown paint, almost like a copper color. Pretty cool, I think, actually, and a lot of it is all still here. It's crazy how original this truck is. And the grill, fantastic condition. In 77, these lights were clear lens. 78 and 79, they went to an amber lens, although I've seen them differently. That could be swapped out at any point in a vehicle's life. But yeah, it looks to be the original grill. This truck is very, very unmolested. If it was a Snow Commander, it would have brackets between the body and the bumper that extend out that the snowplow would actually hang off. Now, you've probably already noticed, got a little issue with the bumper here, but that's okay because my 78 W200 came with a perfect front bumper, and I'm going to donate that to this because, well, I don't need it on my W200 because I've got a custom bumper on that I made. So there's a lot of other telltale things missing on for what would be a snowplow, but we'll get to that more. Let's go ahead and take a look at the reason why. So you probably already noticed the wheels are gone, and we've already started sanding down all the rusty rims, 7-inch wide factory 15-inch rims on 5x4.5 stud pattern. This stuff is crusty, really crusty. We're gonna have to manage some of that, but that's only the beginning of the amount of crust in this truck. You can see everywhere you look. This whole fender is just rotted out at the bottom. This rocker is separated from the inside. It got a good little kick on it, but the pinch weld is gone, and the inside where it would pinch weld to is almost not even existent because of rust. Got only a tiny bit of rust on the rear wheel. Well, yeah, it's not bad. I think this thing spent some time in Northern Virginia, a lot of time, running around on salty roads. There you go. That's pretty nice that this piece is gone. I'll have to either find one or make one. Probably gonna end up making it. Yeah, she's crusty everywhere you look. The corners here are just literally no longer existing on this bed, which is quite impressive. I have never seen one of these beds rot so bad in this corner. Obviously the wheel kicked the snow and salt and everything right up into here, and boom, rust. Took a lick there at some point. We're gonna fix all this, and that's the point of buying this truck. Killian really wants to learn how to do all this stuff, the bodywork stuff, and cut his teeth with the welder. So we're gonna do that with this truck. Perfect test bed for him to learn how to fabricate metal and weld it in. Got a replacement tail light from the junkyard many years ago. I think I paid $6 for it. Got this is peeling apart, unwelded, so the tailgate doesn't work properly. We got to fix all that so that this will open and close properly. But again, the trim as we go around all here, this side, the passenger side, not bad at all. We're going to clean that up. There's not even any bubbles there except for right here, but it is actually still attached to the inner piece here. Sorry if it's a little dark on this side of the truck, a little bit of a gloomy day. But we're going to fix that. Once again, detached back here, and this corner is gone. Yeah, I went around it I don't know, a week ago and shot all of the bolts for shock absorbers, all of the rear wheel cylinders, shot those bolts with PB Blaster. Everything that I know is going to come off, because these are going to definitely come off. Somebody's already snipped in some brake lines along the way in its life. Not a surprise with the amount of rust on this thing. I've got a coil of line, and we're going to make probably more new brake lines, because I will probably still break these when I take these wheel cylinders off. And we know that at least one of them, probably both, are bad. How do I know that? Because the rear brakes in the master cylinder has no fluid, but the front brakes do. A little bit of a dent right here. I think we'll get a suction cup and right back out and clip this trim right back on. This mirror is still here, but it doesn't want to move. It might need, you can see how it's peeling off of these little pop rivets as well. It's from people grabbing them over the years to pull them in or out. So gonna have to replace on that. A little bit excessive rust at the bottom of the passenger side door. Not sure if you can quite see that, but oh hey, look, mouse nest too. That's pretty good. Got to get inside of there. Yeah, we got to vacuum all that out. But what's crazy, you get inside of this door, and I'll show you here in just a second. Like, it looks like the panel's never been removed. This is really cool. A puncture wound into the rocker. This rocker's attached at the bottom. That's good. This fender is basically left the building at the bottom, and it took a hell of a whack right there. So we're going to pull some of this out, try and get some of this shape back. I don't know if we'll be able to get very far with it. I'm not going to pull these rotors off and resurface them. I'm just going to sand them down. We'll get the tires on the wheels back. We'll spin one side, and I'll just sit here with a grinding disc. We'll pop these calipers off and sit here and just get them cleaned. Actually, there's a lot there. There's no ridge. If you've ever messed with these 70s Dana 44, like ball joints out is just a nightmare with these bearings. So not going to do it. Just going to replace shocks, all the simple stuff. The front brakes do work. They do still move. There's still meat on the pad there. But we're going to clean all this up anyhow. Very rusty everywhere you look. So that's this side of the truck. Now let's take a look on the inside. Alright, so here's the interior. Now I mentioned about the Snow Commander a little bit ago. If this was a Snow Commander, it would have two knobs right here, and it would be labeled, and that would be your for the tilt and the lift of your plow. Now it does have two knobs here. They are different from each other. I don't know if that was a dealer installed or somebody else came in here and messed with it. But probably one of them, I'm guessing, is the cab lights that I just showed you. So, and again, here's the beauty. 3 pedals. Now, one of the things about this clutch pedal, shouldn't do that. It should return back to where it goes. So, I peeked under there a little while ago, and yet we got some clutch linkage issues. We have no idea about the status of the clutch, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's probably seeing its last days if we can get it to work at all. I really hope we can get it to work, because dropping an NP 435 and a 203 transfer case out to get the transmission out to put in a clutch is going to be a bear. Done it once, don't ever look forward to doing it again. But you can see there is no fooling around in here. Nobody's messed with anything. The sun didn't kill the dash. It's getting ready to. It's trying its best. It's getting flaky, but it's not. It's actually still here. My guess this sat underneath of some sort of covered, maybe building, a barn. Doesn't look like, these are the factory screws that look like anybody's pulled any of this apart. AM radio. This thing was a really, really, really low option truck. As far as I can tell, no air conditioning. There's your 4-speed. And there's your full-time 4-wheel drive with low lock, low, neutral, high, and high lock. And I WD-40'd all that. I think it's in high right now, but it hasn't mattered yet because we haven't driven the truck. There's the door panel I was telling you about. Real nice with this kind of brownish copper metallic. That white really kind of looks good with it. Does not appear to have ever been taken off of there. Definitely had some passengers in here though, getting their dirty paws all over everything. But this was a truck. It was a work truck just for that reason. Glove box is not cracked by the sun. Dash is in good shape. Does have a fancy seat cover on. The old white seat, because it's got some exposed, foam. It'll be just fine. We'll get a newer, fancier Mexican blanket cover on there. Let's see if I can get this up. Back here, even still has the cardboard. I've never even seen that in a truck of this age because it's always gone. But we got to get it out of here just the same. Unscrew it and pull it out of here because there could be mice back behind it. When we got it home that Sunday, we did find, all the mice up under the glove box. Dug all that out. We did all the vacuuming and vacuumed out the floor a little bit, but I will show you. We know what's going on here, right? Yeah, there you go. There you have it. It's going to need some floor work done. That's not a surprise whatsoever. This door's in pretty good shape. Door card, everything. Again, nobody hacked into it. This is the first truck I've ever seen that didn't have a hole cut in it for speakers, where you put a speaker right here so that you can't open or close your window. The windows somewhat work. The vent wings work. I mean, it's a nice little rig. Door shuts like an old Dodge. So let's take a look under the hood. This is where the magic happens. All right. That's the beauty of a bird bath. Drain all the water and dirt right down onto your engine. Pretty sweet. So here, another thing showing unmolested. I've never found one of these old trucks with these dirt blocker, rubberized mats still in position with the factory fasteners on both sides. It didn't have the coolant reservoir on the top. It had one of these because I guess that catch reservoir was an option. Pretty, meaty radiator there, but it's just got a drain hose right down the side here. Washer bottle, still got washer fluid in it. And what was the most shocking about all the rust on this truck, it's the only one I've ever seen of this vintage from, the snowy areas like Virginia here, where the rad core support isn't rotted away underneath the battery and everything. So even the battery trays here not rotted away, which is just stunning. So again, if this was a Snow Commander, it would have auxiliary brackets here and basically a second power steering unit sitting up here on the top, and that would have been the hydraulics in 77 for the snowplow. I think later models, maybe 78, 79, definitely in the 80s, it went to an electric plow, and they deleted on that. One thing that is interesting is the hydraulic reservoir would have been on a bracket over here, and we have what looks to be a broken bracket that has never been, I'm assuming never used. I can't tell if that was coming from the factory to have it set up ready to put the reservoir on at the dealership where they would install the plow package. The only other thing is, this is again unmolested, is that we don't have any, these are the only two wires that I can tell have been messed with, and they were just poked through right here real neatly. on the Speedo cable grommet, and they look like they ran up to the battery, and these might have been probably for some sort of, I don't know, lighting or possibly some other CB or something. We don't see any signs on the underside of the dash of it ever being drilled into and having anything screwed to it, so really tough to say, but that's, again, really rare for something from the 70s that has not had all of the electrical hacked on completely. It does look like at some point somebody put on a new wiper motor, which is probably when they broke the bushings in there that hold all the linkage together. I've got some of those laying on my back bench. We'll snap those in there when we take all this off this weekend and clean all that out. Again, here's a good shot of the rust going on the front fender, between the inner fender and the outer fender. Quite a bit of rust in there. We got to get a vacuum back in here and clean it all out a little better. So far, and I'll bring you up to speed, we did disconnect the fuel pump, and we tried to get it to suck gas out of an auxiliary fuel tank, but we know that that fuel pump's bad. So when my son gets home a little later today, he's going to put that in. He's never put in a fuel pump before, so he wants to do it. So we're going to step through all that. He's going to get that put in. And then today, while I'm waiting for him to get home, I'm probably going to find other things I can busy myself with that he won't be really missing out on. So here hopefully in just a little while, I'll head back up to Discount Tire and pick up the tires that, like I said, we bought this 2 weeks ago. I ordered 4 tires off of Amazon, really cheap, 31 1050s. While we pop the tires off of this, obviously you can see she's looking like she's on the streets of LA. Lost your nice 22s. But we popped those old rims off of there. We got, used the wire brush on the drill and got as much of the rust off them as we could. Shot them with fresh white paint, and they're looking pretty good. I'm looking forward to getting those back on here. Oh, I didn't notice that. Little dent on the grill. Other than that, perfect. So we're going to go through get this thing fired up and running this weekend, get some wheels and tires on it, and let's see if that transmission is going to work. So stick around. All right, that looks a lot better now. She's a little sagged in the front, and I'm going to go ahead and say that's the front leaf springs have seen better days. They're kind of frowny. They should at least be kind of flat, but those tires fill it up a little better. About 2 inches taller. They're 31 1050s versus the 29 inch, what were they, 235 70 15s on there. And of course they wouldn't hold air, so she's a beaut now. I suppose I could have showed you the inside of the bed as well. It actually looks pretty good. Got a little bit of oddity going on here with the gapping. That's actually welded, but that's not. That'll slide over. I don't know what's going on here. Doesn't seem like you'd feel it that much, but strange. Who knows? But look, it's all here. God, I've seen 80s beds that were rotted out completely, and this one's here. Gotta find the drain hole again and get it opened back up right around that area. Amazing. Front of it's there. Everything's good back here. Not unhappy with that at all, because this is where you make your money, right? All right, so Killian's getting started on getting this fuel pump out of here, and just for ease, he's gonna slide the alternator up and out of the way. just where it's a little less troublesome to get to it, to that fuel pump. But here we go. I would set your bolts up here so you're not leaning across them or knocking them down or anything. And that may be easier with a wrench just because that belt. It's gonna be pretty tight. There you go. That should be maybe enough to move that. Should drop it down to get the belt off. We might end up pulling that alternator all the way off just because. Oh, don't push it. Hang on. Come back some. Come back some. There. Now see if it'll go up. Yeah. Might have to get like a coat hanger to hold it up out of your way.
Oh, I just tighten this one back down.
Okay. See if I'll do it. All right, so now you can see from over here. You got a little better access. You can see your two bolts that got to come off.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pull these fuel lines that we worked so hard to get on.
Screwdriver.
Yeah, that's the little
driver.
Yeah, a little 1/4-inch nut driver. Go real loose on it.
Yeah.
These things they stick into it. The rubber cuts through the little. There you go. Just run it up out of the way. You may be able to pull that off of there. Hard to say.
That's like a little clip.
That's just a little clip, yeah. But all you need is one of them off of there. Let's see if you can get that off of that pipe, the rubber that you just removed the clamp from. That's probably going to be bit down on there and not wanting to come free at all. Yeah, if you can twist back and forth on the fuel filter itself, maybe it might break it. It broke free the bottom one. So you may want to get a pair of pliers and take that factory style clip off of the fuel pump.
That broke free up here.
Didn't it? Looks like it's spinning around the bottom.
It's coming off the top.
Do you want to get that clamp out of your way? That'll help. You don't like this guy? Yeah, if you just get a pair of channel locks, you squeeze it down and pull it up out of the way. There you go. That filter might pop out of the lower portion of that hose, but like I said, we'll probably cut that hose off and replace it anyway, so don't have to be gentle. Looks like it. There we go. Oh,
A little gas.
so let's get the smell on that. Maybe it was pumping and we just never. Oh God, that smells terrible. That is not the gas
That we want.
Well, that's not the gas that was in that can. That's that is putrid gas. Yeah, let's go.
Gas.
All right, got to get this other one off at the bottom of the fuel pump. That's the supply line.
This one or this one?
Yeah, that's the supply line.
Okay, so what we put on?
Yeah, you got to come at it from underneath probably.
Yeah.
That one should come off pretty easy because we just put it on.
Yeah.
That should be good. Oh, maybe a little looser. A little more.
If we can get it out.
All right, that should be good then. Yeah, there we go. I can pull this hose off. There we go. This hose out of the way. All right, now it's just your two bolts up that hold it to the timing cover.
Oh yeah, see, this will just come off with that.
Yeah, it'll come right off with it. Then we can make sure we don't.
What size do you think those are?
Those are 9/16, I believe.
Okay, cool.
Well, you probably 6-inch extension. Start backing them out together.
Yeah. So
And then you don't.
do them one at a time, dude.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. Come out a little ways on one, then do the other one, and kind of relieve the pressure on the lever.
Yeah.
It'll be on there. You're right up against that manifold. You need to bring your wrench up. There you go. There we can get a bite on it.
Yeah, well, that's where it just was. I don't get much of a bite.
Somebody smoked that thing on there. Might be the original one. There it goes.
Sucks.
I wonder, I might go upstairs and see if I got a spare alternator and throw it on here, just because that one was sounding terrible. But we haven't even seen if it was charging or not, so check it first. Just sounded like it had bad bearings in it.
I'm putting another extension on.
Yeah, give yourself a little more room there, huh? Coming right off. Now it's got a gasket. Hopefully the gasket sticks with the pump and not the timing cover, but it might. Yeah, you can run them all the way out now. Pretty long bolts.
Are they?
Oh yeah, like an inch and a half. There's one. It's tucked up in there. You can see how fun it is to get that bolt started holding the gasket in place. There you go.
Yeah, gasket's on the...
Yeah. All right. She's out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's your gasket.
Carter.
All right, time to go back in with the new one. Cleaned it up a little bit. Got a little bit of RTV on the fuel pump itself. Might have to snake in from the side, bud, because you gotta get that. You gotta get your supply hose there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Like I said, it might have been easier to just put that on.
Yeah.
Afterwards. Just gotta make sure you're under that eccentric. There you go. Yep, now start if you can see if you can get a bolt started. What's wrong?
You get sure I'm under it?
Oh yeah, you are. It pretty much won't go in.
There, it just won't come up.
Yeah, you're gonna have that spring pressure against it till you get the bolt started. Depends on where that little eccentric's at, you know, with the rotation of the engine as to how much it's gonna push back on that spring.
Oh, there was a couple more things to...
Yep, that's why we moved the alternator.
Oh, that's nice that it doesn't even fit.
Alright, got that new little fuel pump stuck in there. Real nice. And he's going to throw the alternator back on. Got a new clear fuel filter on it. Although we'll be coming out of a gas can, so fuel should be clean. And then we'll come back tomorrow. I'm going to try and clean out this fuel line, but I'll tell you more tomorrow. I found some issues with the fuel tank. Here, let me pull up on that for you, son, so you can get it tight. There we go.
Low down.
Oh, you just got to get it started?
Yeah, that's all. A little up. There.
Did you loosen that top bolt?
Yeah, it's loose right now. Alright, cool.
But
should stay now.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna have to, before you tighten it down, then we gotta get tension on it. Not a crazy amount. That belt will probably pop. It's old. That'd be fine.
Let's tighten it down.
Yeah, run it on in. And actually spinning that when it was off the belt. I spun that alternator and the bearings didn't sound bad, but when the engine was running, it had a pretty good roar to it. But
on ratchet,
just run it in.
ratchet thing.
Here, let me hold this so that you can. That's good. And get your topping. But yeah, we'll prime up that new fuel pump tomorrow. I really want to wait till the clutch fork spring gets here. It's not the right one. I can't find one for a Dodge, so I bought one for a Jeep. It's about a ½ inch too short. It just means we'll have more clutch pressure on the pedal. It'll work for now, but we'll run to the junkyard in the morning and see if we can find the right one off a Ford or a Chrysler, if we can, whatever we can find. Yeah, it's about a 4-inch long spring when it's unsprung at rest. All right, cool. Well, we'll get back on this thing tomorrow. So now, son, you've put in a fuel pump. Lots of fun. All right, we'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Good morning. It's the next day. We got rained out last night. As soon as we got the fuel pump stuck in there, we were getting ready to fire it up, and the wind started howling, and well, I didn't want to fire it up anyway because I want to get this spring on the clutch so that it's pulling in the proper direction. So it's the next day. We just spent the last 2 hours scouring through the junkyard to find any 70s or 80s four-speed trucks to snatch a spring off of. And I ordered some springs that are not quite right from Amazon. So to keep this moving forward today, what I'm going to do is I'm down here with Frank, my 78 W200, and I'm just going to snip the return spring, the clutch fork return spring off of Frank. So let's dive under Frank here and see what it's supposed to look like on this clutch assembly. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see all this. I'm spinning the camera around, but here is the spring that I need, right? It goes, it pulls the clutch fork assembly back this direction so that your throwout bearing has some end play right there, right? Not riding against those fingers on the pressure plate. So this one could stand a little bit of adjustment. It's got a little more end play that it needs. But the point is that when you push the clutch in, this spring pulls it back to get you into that position where the thrust bearing is off of, the throwout bearing is off of the fork. So what we're going to do is just pop this joker off of here. No tools required. Hopefully it'll come out from where this starter is. We shall see. Maybe that might be a bit of a challenge, and I may have to set this camera down. Yeah, hang on. Wonder if my left hand can get in there and do it. It's in a tight spot, and it seems that the starter's got a hold to the spring. A little hole right there in the transmission bell housing that it's got to slide into, and it should come out of there. I don't know why it won't. Oh, gonna make me wrestle, huh? All right, well, let me work on getting this thing out of here. I gotta make it happen so we can get that 77 going. I don't want to drop this starter. That'd be painful. Okay, well, I'll be back. I'm gonna go get a screwdriver and just try and pry that out of there real quick. So I'll be back. Success. Have my little spring. And now we're gonna go throw it into the 77, and I'll show you what that looks like underneath there. No bueno. Okay, back over here, and we're under Turd Ferguson. Terrible light, so I don't know if you're gonna be able to see all this. I don't have my flashlight. So here's the same setup here, the Z-bar, right? And there's your clutch fork. Well, you can see they put this crazy long spring and hooked it to the gas pedal bracket. Obviously somebody's been under here, and they screwed in a piece of metal under the rusty floor. And so this spring setup is actually, instead of pulling this clutch fork back this direction from here to here, you can actually see a piece of old spring right there. they're pulling it the wrong direction. So now this clutch fork, all that play that I showed you in the pedal, that's incorrect. So I got to get this spring off of here somehow. And oh yeah, that's gonna fight me, I'm sure. I'm gonna have to unbolt this little nut right here. And then I got the one off of Frank, and I'm gonna snip it in here. So I'm gonna set you down for a minute and go get a little nut driver to get this off of here. And we'll go from there. The other thing that this spring does when you pull it back this way is it helps hold this in place, all right, your little adjustment rod. And what we got going on here is this adjustment rod just falls right off because it's missing the clip right here that holds it in place. That's super duper. There's the little rubber grommet that sits there, but there's nothing holding this on other than the pressure of this. So let me at least get this spring, see if I can get it through here first. Oh boy, she's a fighter. It's not gonna go through there. We got this old piece on here. Doesn't want to come off either. That's not gonna be sufficient. All right, let me bend this spring up a little bit. See if that'll help me get it in like that. There we go. Now it should just hook right on here. Ugh. Crap in my eye. All right, now that's held, and I cannot see the end play. I'm gonna have to drop this cover off. But that's better than it was. Now when the clutch, hey Killian, come here and push the clutch in, buddy.
Just from up to the cat.
Yeah, you can just even reach in with your hand and just shove it down. And let go. Does it come all the way back to the top?
Yep.
All right, this thing. Maybe that shorter spring that I ordered will actually be better. This is almost
too big.
Yeah, well, I think what the problem is, our adjustment's not right, the end play.
But it's all the way at the top.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
It's just not very springy back up the top.
Yeah, I think because we don't have the clutch adjusted properly.
You're probably right.
I'll mess with that now. All right, well, at least it's going in the right direction now. We can fire it up and won't hear that thrust bearing, that throw-out bearing. Okay, I'm gonna run this out until I can get that probably 1/16 or an 1/8 inch of end play. It's gonna take a minute. But it's going to stretch that spring some more too. That's exactly what you want. This really should have a jam nut on the back side of it to lock down your adjustment. Yeah, we still got a ways to go. Hell, I might be able to turn that by hand at this point. Nope. Alright, that's going to do it. Better than it was. Okay, now back up top. Alright, we're going to go ahead and fill these bowls up and then prime that pump. And, oh come on, leaky thing. Really? Just decided to start leaking on me today. Give it a little snort down in there. Really don't want this air cleaner on it because it's got all this paint flaking off of it massively. It'll just get sucked right down the intake. Alright, I'm going to prime up this line best I can, just to where it's sitting right there on the new fuel pump. Oh, there we go. Take that, buddy. Stick this down into my can. Alright, if you want to go in and push the clutch in, but I would go ahead and make sure it's in neutral as well.
Yeah.
And throw away the key. 1 second. Let me get some stuff that's going to go flying out of the way here.
All right.
All right, go ahead and give it a shot.
Nothing.
Oh, is that battery dead?
Oh.
I didn't hear. Briefly, I heard that throwout bearing. You got the clutch in, huh?
Yeah.
It's in neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little puff of smoke came off of this battery. All right, go ahead and try it again. All right. I don't think that fuel pump's quite picked up yet. All right, let me get my hand over there again. All right, go ahead. That's weird. Oh, I just heard a pump shot. All right, go again. Well, we got fire, we got fuel. Well, no, I don't. I've filled the bowl. It would have run longer than that, but it's just not getting the. I can hear a pump shot going. There goes the first tool to fall. I seriously doubt that that fuel pump's done anything yet. All right, let's see. One more time. It's in neutral. Let the clutch out. That was weird. Was that consistent with you letting the clutch out that it started doing that? That makes no sense. It's in neutral. Oh, I get you. Might have just been a coincidence. All right, son. The bowl is full because I can see it leaking out of this shaft right here. So go ahead and try it one more time.
Ready?
Yeah. It's just not picking up any fuel from the fuel pump. I should see it in that clear filter. And the hose is underneath of the fuel in the tank here in the can. We're not picking up any fuel. Wonder if the float's stuck. But it should still be pushing it all the way up to the carburetor. Can't reach. Oh my goodness, that thing is on there. It seized to the pipe. This wants to come free.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely. I need to go get my flare wrenches because this is already wanting to try and slip on this. If I could just get this thing. Oh, is that it? Yeah. Oh, there's all the gas in the bowl. It was under pressure, so that means the pump is pumping, but it's pumping air.
It's just not picking up.
Hmm?
It's just not picking fuel.
I don't know. I guess the needle is probably stuck closed, but it. Oh yeah, it was pumping air. That's the problem. Okay, so it was pumping all kinds of air. Interesting. So it's in here. So I guess the float is stuck. There's the needle right here. That float must be pushing down on it. Where'd that paper towels? Where'd you put them? Well, I'm an idiot. I'm pretty sure we found the problem, at least one of the problems, and this is going to be. I'd already knocked on this a couple times, but I'm pretty sure our float is stuck and it's just keeping that needle shut. So I'm going to pop this cover off right here. See what I can see. And maybe free that float up. And I don't know that hammering on it's doing the trick. Let me get a.
Could you poke it with something?
No, I'll just bend the tab.
Oh, it'll just mess it up.
Yeah.
Super surprised this is.
The carburetor needs rebuilt. There's no question. But see, it's right under there. If you, yeah, that should be moving, and it's not. The problem is if you push on that, you're going to bend the tab, and it's not going to
Work right.
Yeah, it won't do you any good. This whole thing needs to come off of here and be rebuilt.
When that motor, when she came down from high idle, it sounded pretty healthy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's stuck.
It's just plastic?
Well, that's your. No, that ain't. Yeah, inside of there. Actually, I've never had one of these apart. There's your float.
She moves.
This is your pump shot. When you. That's working. I've got a kit for this. I just need to.
Do it?
Yeah, I need to free up that stupid float. But if we start cranking now, that fuel pump's going to blow fuel everywhere.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing to stop it now because that's why it was under pressure. Just that needle was stuck shut. And I'm sure it's going to still be stuck shut because I don't know how to get that thing free without disassembling this carburetor. Might end up having to take it off of here.
Still stuck?
Yeah. Let me can't get it angled upward. Too many things in the way. Wouldn't take much. I don't know if that's enough or not, though, to be honest with you, son. No idea. This just has to move the tiniest bit.
Yeah. Let
Come back from the fresher. Oh, that's not good. Dropped it. Okay. Well, let's see if that helps solve any of our problems. I doubt it. I think this carb needs to come off. It's junk because the fuel flows out of the where this shaft comes out right here. All right, what is that, 9/16? A little tighten on that. Boop. And let's see if this makes any difference. Yeah, go ahead. I've unstuck the float. Either that or it's just doing a little better now and not actually dying yet. Alright. But we're going to let this chew for a little while. Eat some of this gas. Seems to be doing much better. And apologize if you couldn't hear anything I said, because I don't have my microphone on. There's the exhaust pipe way up there. A little smoky. It's okay. I think we unstuck the float because it's still running, so it's in neutral, right? Go ahead and let the clutch out, see if it does the weirdness again. I think that's the clutch. Turn it off. That was weird. No, it didn't. Alright, new things to investigate. That was crazy.
Also, when this thing starts, it has no brake pedal resistance.
Oh yeah, the brakes are no good, that's why. It's vacuum assisted, so yeah, the brakes are trash. We gotta remedy all that. The clutch, that was weird.
Do you want me to let it all the way out?
Nah, that was... See if it'll fire back up again with the clutch all the way in. Okay. Let me, it's in neutral. I'm just gonna listen down here as you slowly let the clutch out.
Ready?
Yeah. Stop, back in. That's bizarre. You hear that? Yeah, go ahead and shut it off.
Well, when it started back up, it didn't.
Yeah, I think this thing's got a bad clutch in it. That's really weird because you should be able to let the clutch all the way out with it in neutral.
And it just do nothing.
Yeah, but you're definitely in neutral, huh? Yeah, that's crazy. It makes me wonder if because it felt like it had resistance when we were first messing with it. So, all right, well, let me take a look underneath and we'll see what happens. All right, I'm gonna pull this inspection cover and see what we got under here. See what's happening. Ooh, at least the exhaust pipe's hot. That's good. Yep, tailpipe's still hot. Yep, hasn't cooled down yet. So I should definitely quit touching it. Probably should have taken this off before we started playing around, huh? Is my little flashlight, my little mag light should be on the seat or the floor up here above me? Faster, funnier. Thank you, buddy. Oh, what are we looking at here?
Can you tell anything?
Not a lot. I'm just trying to see if I can, like, is there damage to the clutch itself? Yeah. I can't tell 100%, but it looks like the clutch plate itself is separating. And it is. Push the clutch in for me, bud. I probably should have glasses on.
Ready?
Yeah. It looks like the clutch material is separated from the clutch plate.
Line it out.
Yeah, go ahead. It's definitely grabbed. Is it in gear?
No, it's in neutral.
Yeah. All right. I don't know why it's howling like that, so I don't really want to be under here while it's running. But I guess I'll need to be to see what's made. Huh?
Did we put in gear and put the clutch in?
No, it's fine. It's fine in neutral. I think maybe just trying to see this throwout bearing, how much end play I have. I think it needs to come back out a little bit. Let me get a wrench. Move this thing out a little bit more. A little more end play in it, I guess. Maybe that'll help. I can't tell if the clutch disc, if the material's separating or not. Go ahead and push the clutch in. Let the clutch out. Let's see if anything will happen with this joker. Non-sync no first gear. You got a double clutch. Let's just see what happens. You hear that chattering? Yeah, that's that clutch there. Grabbing it, it's enough to move it, but it's junk. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? Imagine once it's let all the way out, it'll
Quiet.
see. But neutral. Hey, did you hear those 38 horsepower when I did that?
Yeah.
Oh, she's a beast. The unleashed style. Well, we know the clutch works ish. Hear the that's because that clutch disc is, well, it's seen better days. Maybe 90,000 miles ago. 97,000 miles on this thing, and I believe that's original. Probably the original clutch. Now all we got to do is strap the battery down, and maybe we need to move that thing first, so that when this thing does move, if it only moves once in its life, we can put it there and get after all the brakes, because I'm pretty sure those brakes are not going to do squat. So, all right, let's button some things up here. Talk to you in a minute. Oh, that sounds terrible. A little more gas. Oh, that clutch is terrible. Yeah, you're off my back mat there. All right, good job. First time ever driving a 4-speed Dodge. Fire's right up. Can't see nothing on this. Sounds like something's dragging behind it, like a chain. driver. And I ain't gonna worry a whole lot about that clutch making all that noise. So. So got it moved up here. That's all cool. The brakes are shot. So now we got to dig into that. I'm going to save that for some other later date on a video. In the future, brakes, brake lines, frustration, pretty typical stuff. Nothing cosmic there. Was able to drive it a little bit up and down the driveway. Now I'm going to do something that my son's not super excited to do, but I kind of am. I'm going to peel off the layer of dirt, see what's under all that, get a better look at this old girl. And he's off to the store with his mom, driving her to the store, so he's happy now out driving, and I'll just stay here and do this because this is fine with me. So I'm gonna get after it real quick. This stuff is very, very in there on the top. A lot of scrubbing. There's still more to go. It'll come off. Just that mildew is on there good, but the paint, look at that coppery color in the sun, and holy smokes, it really shines. Wow, this thing could be ready for wax in a couple of hard scrubbing hours, because this stuff does not come off very easily. Oof. I hope the camera's catching the difference though, because it's pretty stark. Well, for an old girl, you might think it wasn't really worth it to spend the last hour scrubbing all this mildew and mold off, but I think it does make a difference. So let's take a look. We'll walk around the grill now that we can really kind of see. Pulled that dent a little bit, got that trim snapped back on. Pulled this huge dent here a lot, got this trim snapped back on. Now with all the stuff off, you can see the flecks of rust in the side. These are all just little rust spots, so it'd have to be like real gently wet sanded. You know, a couple of whiskey scratches. Got a tail light upstairs, I'll replace that. This is as clean as this is gonna get. This is all rusty coming out from the paint. So basically this whole thing's getting the patina on it. I did lubricate that. That's what dripped all down it. And this is actually, you know, somewhat working now. The problem is it's bent right here at the bottom. It's bent significantly, causing this to separate. So if I actually squeeze this back together, the whole bed flexes, or the whole tailgate flexes. So I'll pull this off of here, clamp this back, actually try and take some of this bow out of it here, and I'll weld that back up real nice and you know, lubricate. It's crazy what a little bit of oil will do for old junk to actually make it work again. This side is still this side. I'm anxious to get this actually put back into the spot where it would be. This metal is good still, albeit starting to bend a little right there. Once this is back in position, it's going to look a lot better rather than, looks very flat like that. Looks very Fordish or something, I don't know. It also makes it too long without curled under. Yeah, I didn't even pull on this dent yet. That one's got creases in it and a gnarly crease there, so it's probably not going to come out. This brown is different. It was actually resprayed. I can see from underside where they drilled through and pulled out some sort of dent and then bondoed over it. It's a slightly different color, and obviously somebody got a hold of a tree or a fence post and made that dent, broke the gas cap. Got another one of those upstairs too. Lots of 78 stuff. Same thing over here. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this thing off of here, get rid of it. Hell, it's coming off already anyway. I'll keep this in hopes of finding just the top portion, or coming up with some other way to modify it. Didn't know we had a good dent there, but I can see it now. Need to get this custom badge custom reattached. Yeah, I think I just need to pull it the rest of the way out and reset the little plastic pieces, the sleeves that go in there. Cleaned up the grill pretty nice. Don't know if you can see the difference. All the mildew's gone for sure, and now it probably just needs some you know, aluminum polish in places. Sprayed out in here after I first took the air hose, first the vacuum. Once I vacuumed, then I took the air hose down into all the crevices that the vacuum couldn't get. And then with that done, the very last thing I did was just take the already foul washcloth and run it through here. Made sure to get some water in the gas can, that way, you know, clean out the cylinder heads. A little bit over here, let this maybe dry out some for a little while. That's really about it, you know. Maybe just rinsed off some of the plastic, and I don't know, it made a difference. Got a lot of the grit that was just, you know, like wedged in everywhere, like in, you know, between the firewall and this line, or down in here. So yeah, really happy with that. I'm glad I did it, and I think it looks 1,000 times better now, despite the giant rust hole in the door. So oh, one last thing before I wrap it up. Did see this. Now let's see if we can get this tailgate shut. One-handed? I doubt it. We're gonna give it a go though. Oops, sound like something broke. Check this out. So, Cardinal Chrysler Dodge Incorporated, Culpeper, Virginia. So that'd be the original sales sticker, I assume. Which is neat because it means it's been a Virginia truck all its life. Obviously still here in Virginia with me. And yeah, I just think stuff like that's cool. And I think there's a Virginia Farm Bureau sticker right there. And this paint is all You probably can't tell on the camera, but somebody took a paintbrush over top of the sprayed silver and put whatever that dirty silver color is. I like this bumper though. I like the smashing and the rusting and the, you know, just how bent it is, and it's well used. But it's a good looking little rig there. I'm impressed with the color of it. It's not the brown turd anymore, it's the copper turd. Very good in the sunlight. Looks fantastic. Obviously it's dry now and you can see all the, you know, it maybe need a coat of wax. I don't know. That seems excessive for something like this. Oh, and yeah, I did mention a new windshield went in, but one problem is that they didn't address any of this up here when the new windshield went in. And when I was rinsing up in this area, I did notice a stream of water down the inside, down to the dash down there somewhere. I'll just have to gently cut all that out and put POR 15 in there and, you know, leave it, because I ain't doing this windshield. Oh, there you go. There's the inspection sticker from 2000, and well, it expired in 2005, so it was inspected in 2004. That sticker looks brand new. October. Pretty cool. I like this rig. These tires and wheels look tough. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll get to the brakes and all that other stuff here in a future episode. Right now, just happy that I can move it up and down the driveway. Not going to worry about that clutch. I'm going to act like it's not making all that noise. I'm going to clean up the inspection cover, put it back on, and roll with it. So we'll see this thing again in the future. We're going to just slowly make it a little bit better and have some fun with it. So hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.